Wow, it has been a busy few days. Thankfully, I'm completely vindicated now that a whole pile of women have posted their own stories up on YouTube. Wonderful. Thankfully. The big V for vindication. Here on the GODOX AD200, I've actually been taking almost 2 weeks on testing this unit. Of course, we're talking about nuances in Kelvin color consistency, which were improvements of on the new GODOX AD200 Pro, as I designate it. By the way, as you can see, the Pro here on the left is just a hair taller, and the reason for that is the recessed head that's actually on it. You can actually see that via the battery compartment right there. I actually like the rounded surface on the conventional AD200. Obviously, everything's going to go to the Pro as opposed to this. I don't think this will be continued any further. What they did is fix two very, very minor design flaws on this and made some improvements. There is an updated on-off switch. There's a huge on-off switch on the older, or just the conventional AD200 versus the AD200 Pro. You can actually see here, maybe you cannot see. It's a lot smaller. It's about the third the size. People were complaining on the standard AD200 that this switch, and it is, it's too damn big. It's not an issue. I don't ever heard of anybody complaining about the switch on the AD200. It has a recessed face. People were actually complaining about the buttons being accidentally hit, especially if they're using the cases that I use that you actually hang on a light stand or hang off of your hip. I've not really heard more than a handful of people actually complain about that, but that's something that GODOX did improve. There is now a 9-stop power range down to 1/256th power on the new AD200 Pro. Also, too, there is 1/10th stop increments on the AD200 Pro. By the way, the price on these has always been $300 in the AD200, and it's $50 more for the AD200 Pro. Is that justified? Yes and no, especially if you want 1/10 stop increments and power down to 1/256. For product photography with color balance consistency, which I'll talk about that in a second. By the way, nobody knows what that is. Everybody's been talking about the AD200 Pro. They talk about the color consistency, but they don't know what the hell it is or how the hell it works. I'll talk about that in just a second. There are now, as you can actually see, or may not see here, there's actually 2 bracket holes on the mounting holes on recessed slots so that the unit does not slide around when you actually use the included head or another head, so this won't twist on a light stand. So that's an improvement. There is an upgrade to USB-C port for communication for firmware updates. I don't think anybody's ever complained about that, so that's really a non-issue. There are 2 more buttons on the face of the AD200 Pro. One of is a menu button, a specific individual menu button, and also to the addition of a frequency button on the AD200 Pro. I didn't bring it here, but the included light stand bracket head, the one for the AD200, is pretty crappy. It's not totally horrible, but it's pretty crappy. There is a vast improvement on the head that is included in the package box of the AD200 Pro. All heads, of course, remain the same. Now, color consistency mode. What that is on this, and of course I know about this from other strobe units, is that when the T1 time or the T5 time on a flash burst duration is controlled by the circuitry, and what's been changed is that when the color is thrown off on a xenon, all flash units, whether it be speed lights or huge studio strobes, Broncolor, Pulse, blah, 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 there is a circuitry that controls a clipping, or does not control, otherwise it just sends out a huge pulse of light, which it does in the AD200. Is that really an issue? For product photography it is, and for a lot of things it certainly can be. What's included on the AD200 Pro, and this is really the reason why this unit is $50 more, is that the circuitry controls the clipping points for the pulse duration. I'm going to make it really simple. I'm going to complicate things and people aren't going to know what the hell I'm talking about, so I'm going to make it really simple. When a xenon flash burst duration goes out, the main portion of which is entirely consistent, but as it starts to pulse and as it tapers off and dies, it gets really sloppy. And this is where the actual color consistency issues come in on any xenon pulse burst. I said it's the same for speed lights, studio strobes, whether they be expensive or cheap, or these AD200s. The primary reason for the $50 increase on this, of course, there's several. Well, there's actually 8 different upgrades, which I've already mentioned on the AD200 Pro. But what this does is it actually eliminates out the clipping point on the pulse duration on the front end and on the back end, such that you only get higher the main pulse burst, which has absolute consistency in output. I think that's simple enough so that everybody can understand it. The key point being is that all xenon pulse bursts are sloppy on the front end when they start the burst, and sloppy on the rear end when they taper off and die, and the circuitry in this clips out the front end and the rear end and just keeps the consistent portion present. And that is actually found on more expensive studio strobes. GODOX made a mistake in not actually specifying what that really is when they said, well, there's improved color consistency on the new AD200 Pro. They didn't tell you what that really is. People are like, well, you know, I can't see. Most of you won't see a difference, but when you're actually pixel peeping and you're doing product photography and you're doing mixed lighting and you got an issue with, especially at greater power, where there's a huge front end and a rear end, front end and a rear end on the flash burst duration, the higher the power is, the more slop there is on either side of the pulse duration. I'm glad I'm the only person out there that's going to explain this, and there's definitely nobody on YouTube that knows what the hell this is. But I think I made that abundantly clear, right? It's kind of like if you got all xenon tube bursts are like a cheap-ass car. All of them. Like when you first start it up and you got to switch gears and the car is jolting, you know, it's sloppy, right? And when you stop and you got bad brakes, for example, you know, the car does some sort of crazy crap. But when you're driving down the highway, everything's smooth, and all xenon pulse bursts are exactly like a crappy car. All of them. Even Broncolor, every single xenon tube flash photography device is like that. So it just clips out the start and the end, and it gives you the consistent port. I think I made that really abundantly clear, and that's one of the primary things you're actually paying for on the AD200 Pro. But I mean, the things that people definitely be looking at is the recessed head. Not that I actually found that to be a true issue, and 9-stop power range and 1/10 stop increments on the output, which could be dialed. No twist mounting points, no big deal. It is kind of, I really am impressed that nobody mentioned it, that the bracket head included with this is vastly improved. It's not one of those stupid slip, twist, plastic nylon knobs where you like push it and it goes a mile, and you know, you can't fine tune the turn on the light stand head that the AD200 comes with, but you can on this one. So those are all the differences on the AD200 Pro. I actually love the AD200, and I didn't actually think I'd get a Pro, but I wanted another GODOX AD200, so there we got it. Like I said, it is, as far as the cases that are made for the AD200, you just pull the Velcro back a little bit further so there's not as much Velcro holding it, because you can see that it's about 8 millimeters taller than the AD200 is. And that is the difference between the GODOX AD200 and the GODOX AD200 Pro. And I'm glad I was the only person to explain the color consistency mode, because Pulsey Buff, by the way, has a color consistency. That's exactly what they call it. Yeah, right back here I got 8 of them. No, I'm not, 4 of those, excuse me. I got 8 studio strobes. On the Einstein Pulsey Buff unit, there's a color consistency mode. And that just engages circuitry for flash pulse duration clipping, clips out either end. I'm really good at analogies, I think, at explaining things. It's like, it's too complicated. Simplify it. Put it in words I can understand. I think I conquered it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like these videos, you can always click the link below. I don't sell anything. I don't have any affiliate links, so whatever you buy, I don't make a dime. I want people to be happy and make wise, intelligent choices based upon logic, what their needs are, and what their budget is. Thank you. Bye.